A Course in Miracles, Workbook Lesson 11. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. This is the first idea we have had that is related to a major phase of the correction process, the reversal of the thinking of the world. It seems as if the world determines what you perceive. Today's idea introduces the concept that your thoughts determine the world you see. Be glad indeed to practice the idea in its initial form, for in this idea is your release made sure. The key to forgiveness lies in it. The practice periods for today's idea are to be undertaken somewhat differently from the previous ones. Begin with your eyes closed and repeat the idea slowly to yourself. Then open your eyes and look about, near and far, up and down. Anywhere. During the minute or so to be spent in using the idea, merely repeat it to yourself, being sure to do so without haste and with no sense of urgency or effort. To do these exercises for maximum benefit, the eyes should move from one thing to another fairly rapidly, since they should not linger on anything in particular. The words, however, should be used in an unhurried, even leisurely fashion. The introduction to this idea in particular should be practiced as casually as possible. It contains the foundation for the peace, relaxation, and freedom from worry that we are trying to achieve. On concluding the exercises, close your eyes and repeat the idea once more slowly to yourself. 3 practice periods today will probably be sufficient. However, if there is little or no uneasiness and an inclination to do more, as many as 5 may be undertaken. More than this is not recommended. Okay, my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. One thing to note here right off the bat is Jesus's advice, suggestion, or let's say prescription, you could say, to not do this in a hurried way, but in a leisurely way. And he said this before. He said it right from the very beginning. And why? Let's read this one sentence. The introduction to this idea in particular should be practiced as casually as possible. It contains the foundation for the peace, relaxation, and freedom from worry that we are trying to achieve. So this is just the introduction to an idea that is actually very important, that is going to be, that we're going to see different forms of this as we go on with the workbook. Basically, everything starts in our mind. Right? Ideas leave not their source is one of the major principles of A Course in Miracles. However we are choosing to see the world is what we're going to see. And if our thoughts, in a sense, you could say all of our thoughts are egoic. But particularly the thoughts that are following the ego, thoughts of guilt and shame and unworthiness and attack thoughts and depressing thoughts, belittling, vengeful thoughts, etc. All these kinds of thoughts are showing me a world that is just reflecting back to me what I am choosing to see. Now, Jesus doesn't say all that here, but I think that's where this is going. What else can we say about this? The reversal of the thinking of the world, that's what this is all aimed at, is the conditioning and the way that the world thinks, which is really, because of the ego mind. We have created this world in alliance or in conjunction joining with the ego, we created a world that seems to be meaningless. Yet if we align our mind more and more closely with the Holy Spirit, the world will actually become, we will see much more meaning. We'll still be in the world, but we will begin to see a world that reflects back the thoughts of love and forgiveness, kindness, etc., that we are now, our minds are now in that kind of vibration and way of thinking, and so the world will show us according to what our minds are doing. So let's see. Yeah, and I think we can't discount the leisurely pace at which we do all of this, because part of our problem is we are impatient. That might be one of the biggest ones, right? We tend to rush everything. We're in time, but we don't have a sense of timing, and a sense of, you could say, divine timing. And there's a great line in the text where Jesus says, "Now it is." I'm not remembering the exact quote, but it's something like, "Now it is for us to remember that only infinite patience brings immediate results." So only infinite patience brings immediate results. Which means, among other things, that we do not need to rush, we do not need to hurry, and we do not need to worry. Everything actually is already taken care of. It is but for us to accept that is true, and everything. There's no room to fear when you are in that mindset. And then the world will reflect that back to you. But when you are in a state of hurry and worry and scurrying about on whatever you could say ego-driven missions that we go on, the world will reflect back to us that until we get with the program. So anyway, hopefully this was a little bit helpful today. Tomorrow we're going to be doing lesson 12, and I will be doing another video now. As I've been doing this whole series on non-duality and A Course in Miracles, and I've been listening to some different videos that people have done on ACIM and non-duality. So stay tuned for more of that. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.